Hello, welcome to Table Talk at JEC. Here at Table Talk, we have a free-flowing conversation on many topics of interest to many people, like Bible, like theology, like Christian life, social issues, ethical issues, all kinds of things. Yes, here at Table Talk, we learn together. And today with us here is Audrey.
Hi everyone, I'm Audrey. Some people know me as Allison, and I am a marketeer, a sinner, a believer of Christ who still has a lot of questions in mind. That makes me very, very excited to be here and spend this afternoon or this time with you to learn more about God and answers to my questions.
Wow, you're at the right place. And also with us today is Anne.
Hi. Hello to every one of you. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, and I am someone who loves to share people about the Lord, sharing people about the hope they have in Christ.
Yes, wow, that's good to hear. And also with us today is Ren.
Hi everyone, I'm Ren. I also work in marketing. I was told I was very curious, hence why I was invited to join here because I have a lot of questions and I want to know the answers to, I guess, all those questions and maybe come up with more questions. And I hope to hear a lot from everyone today.
Wow, seems we're gonna have a great conversation today.
My question is, as Christians, as God-fearing people, how much should be our consumption in terms of the internet, social media? Yeah, because, it's a double-edged sword. Yeah. It can help you at the same time. It can also ruin you if you are not careful. And I think a lot of our young people, it seems that if you remove the gadgets away from them, they would, parang there's no life for them already. So what can you say about, I'm a Gen X. These are millennials. I think they can...
Gen Z.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. So, any advice or any insights about the social media world, the consumption of the secular media, if I would say?
Oh, tell me about Gen Zs, your friends. How does social media and internet use fit into their lives?
It's a lot of sharing, I guess, who we are as people, updating friends, updating family, being close to those who aren't close to us physically. A lot of learning also. There's a lot of content that goes around, especially with newer platforms that come about every now and then. There's a lot of, I guess, information and knowledge from different people with different walks of life. So it's learning from a lot of them and also, I guess, trying to decipher which one's wrong and which one's right, which one is something we should stop following. I guess in a way, because there's so much content, we have access to so much, it's so hard in a way to focus on such a narrow path that we as Christians follow. So I guess, is there a point where we should stop following, distance ourselves from these kinds of content, or completely just stay away from social media? If that makes sense. Although difficult
Which kind of
to
impossible.
do and impossible, especially in today's time, since a lot of work also coincides with it.
Yep.
Especially since I work in marketing.
Same.
That's where a lot of
Social
the
media.
work is. Like
That is the
social
job,
media
yeah.
and just reaching out to a lot of people. Yeah.
I guess one thing that kind of goes around with social media is pop culture. We're really open to a lot of things. If there's an artist, like for example, I'm not gonna name drop, but someone who has a concert right now or has a
In
concert
Singapore.
worldwide. People follow that artist. They'll go to them. They'll follow their songs. They'll memorize everything. And I do believe, like apart from the other non-Christian religions, ang kalaban ng Christianity also is pop culture. Kasi the attention that we have with pop culture is being grabbed very much. And I would say that it's not really Christian living in a way. So that's also kind of like our kalaban, I would say. Parang something that we have to compete against in order to get the non-Christians into our side, I would say. So yeah, it's a struggle.
What about Gen X? Allah.
Yeah.
Actually, I was about to comment a while ago. To be honest, no, I use gadgets, but probably because I'm from that Generation X, it's easy for me to, I can fast from social media for a few days or something like that. Because I'm still in the, when reading books, I still love the hard copies. So for me, it's easy to say no. Yeah, that's why I'm trying to understand also my son, who is a Gen Z, and not to be too hard on him, because of course I hear people say that Gen Z's life is, the internet. But of course, we try to ground him. At the same time, we remind him, we pray for him, and I think he understands the man. Especially in school, they're using gadgets
iPads.
for
School,
ACADS.
yeah.
So this is quite a broad topic, and also the concern. I think one is for probably if there are Gen Zs, of course, what can be some tips on in terms of where you draw the line. At the same time, for the younger ones, di ba? It's their life. Yeah.
Like, sorry, just to add, I guess like we would be also parents soon, so it would be like a future tip also. Like if
to a
there
different
was,
generation.
parang,
That
yeah,
much
of a
I
different
was careful.
generation. But I guess like if the Gen Zs right now, they're very very much devoted to social media. What more in the new world where there's AI, there's more technology adaptation. So how would our children be? And I guess like how could you give us tips in terms of like the consumption then again? So,
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's very useful. I think the internet, let's talk about the internet, which includes social media. It's all through the net. So I think the internet is a resource for us. So sometimes we need information instead of calling the front office of the hotel. You can actually go to the site and says, ito mga presyo, So as a source of information, I think we should use that. Secondly is for work. Some work is very dependent on computers, and then some e-commerce, etc. On the internet. So we can understand that because it's part of the work. I think what we're more concerned about is the leisurely use of the internet, which means it's not necessary. In work, if you don't use it, then you don't meet your client or you don't market whatever. You don't connect with the supplier. So for work, for study, college and universities, okay yon. It's the leisurely use that's the problem. Because I think in our generation, the leisurely use of the internet has become something like a need, so that a child can actually negotiate with the parent that, I need to give me 2 hours, kulang 3 hours. It has become a need as though we cannot live without it. I think it has not been tried. Actually, I think we can live without it, but it has not been tried. So they always believe that kailangan. That's the leisurely use. If you like to watch YouTube videos, you can watch 24/7 because endless yung supply. So, and we're not talking other sites, just YouTube alone, So that one, it has to be regulated. And you may have to regulate a child while they're young, not when they become older. Eventually, when they become older, it will be more difficult. They probably would have their own bedroom. And if you turn off the Wi-Fi, they probably have their own data. So it used to be if you want all your children to come down, you turn off the Wi-Fi and they all come out and says, what happened? Then you talk to them. You turn it on, everybody went back to their room, So it's like a siren to call everybody. Anyway, now everybody has data, so they're on their own. So as the parent, you have to decide on a certain amount that's allotted. Some people allow it on non-school day. Some people on school days allow maybe an hour or whatever. As long as the child is doing all her homework well, we allow some time. The other one na hindi talaga leisurely is social, connecting with friends. He's my best friend and now she has relocated to another city. We want to be in touch and all that. That would be something we can understand to keep in touch. It's just that when you open it up, whether it's Messenger, suddenly you have 100 and then you have 200 or or your Viber, and then suddenly you have 2 groups, 4 groups, 8 groups, lahat. So it's kind of unmanageable. So in my own personal practices, I just turn off the notification. So when I have time, I look, but not to everything that comes in because there's so many of them, people, and I'm only one person. In some Viber groups, 220 something, So I just cannot keep up. So I just turn off the notification and then just look once in a while, see what's something I want to look at and respond to. So you need to regulate that. In terms of the social, I find that some families, they are so busy throughout the year, so they need to get away so they can have quality time as a family. So they all take a long vacation away from the city, and then they get there and everybody takes out their gadget. So I wonder, is that quality time? You do that at home, right? Also, they're at the restaurant, everybody has their gadget. Paano yun? How's that? Quality time. So this is stealing our quality time with people near. Because we're concerned about people far and there's 1,000 of them. We forgot the 5 people around the table. So I think in some family gatherings, the rule is when you enter the house, you put your phone in a basket. And then you go in and then everybody have their family reunion. And then at the end, when you go out, you take your phone and you go home. So confiscation, temporary, confiscation. So you will interact with the people. I think it's threatening that people near to us because there's just so many people out there, and everybody's calling for attention. So I find it a bit sad when I see a family together and everybody has a gadget, including the child. Parang they are together physically, but mentally, they're all somewhere else.
That's true.
So, sayang, because we only have limited time as a family. One day when we all have our parental duties, we cannot have that anymore. So, So watch out that the social media use does not steal from people dearest to you and very close to you physically. If you want to visit your mom in her bedroom, maybe you don't need to bring your phone at that time. Or you want to go sit with your dad at the TV, his favorite TV chair, and just talk. Maybe you don't need to bring your phone, so he gets something. So try that. It's good to connect with friends far away, but not at the expense of family and friends at hand. And then in terms of leisurely, just limit your use to it. Games are very addictive. I think there's a lot of online games, and when you play, you kind of can't stop because it involves a few other people. And sometimes you're a team. You don't want to drop them, So that's very difficult. I think depending on the kind of games they play, I would not recommend more than an hour because games can drain you mentally. And next day, when you have to go to class and do things or go to work and do things, it drains you. Lobat ka na. So you got to protect yourself against that. So siguro for games, especially very intensive games, para sa akin, 1 hour is good enough just to have fun. But some people play until 3 a.m. And the next day, when they have to go to school or work,
I can relate.
Kahit na hindi.
Yeah. You mentioned AI. That's the threat to our future relationships. Because now, I think there are some people who have bought robots. Robots are AIs. So, usually they are people who are not very socially adept. So they find it difficult to relate with people or to have a relationship like a boyfriend or a girlfriend. So they just buy a robot. And the robot can talk to them and never pinapagalitan, never impatient, always yes, always very polite and helpful. And you tell them to do whatever and they do it. And so before long, they develop a relationship with the robot. Kasi yung girlfriend ko dati, pag late ako, galit. Itong robot hindi. If I forget her birthday, galit. Ito, I forgot your date of manufacture. Hindi galit. So, it's so easy, you know. So they became kind of addicted to that. But I think in the end, it will not totally fulfill the human heart because we're not designed to live to experience the pleasures of love without its pains. Sometimes when we cry, it refreshes us and it refocuses us on the essentials, on the most valuable because we cried. Dahil tayo nasaktan, na-discover natin ulit yung pinakamahalaga. But without the tears, parang wala. Taken for granted. So yeah, that is a threat. It's worse than social media because now, this robot is fulfilling my emotional, social, and physical needs. So even physical, sexual needs can be fulfilled by a robot. So I think that's a big threat to the social fabric of humanity. Yeah. So you're right. We have to watch out for that.